Let's look at... I got a couple things to look at today. A couple very, very different things. Let's see. Should we do... Let's do some spaceships. We haven't done a ton of spaceships lately. Or have we? I don't know. We always do spaceships. So I've got two... Ooh. I've got Star Wars and Star Trek. And two of each, but two different versions of the same thing. Right, Rabid Wombat? You can never have too many spaceships. Hold on, I just need to move a couple things before I can get to what I want to open today. Alright, let's start with Star Trek. The trekkiest of all stars. Alright, so you know it, you love it. We'll do it in numerical order. So we're doing the Eaglemoss Star Trek Starships collection. Man, I haven't gotten a new one of these in a while. I still have a closet full of these things to open up from the last few years, but I'm out of the loop as far as new ones. I don't go to the comic book store and get Previews magazine and see what the new thing is. So yeah, I'm behind in that. Are there My Little Pony starships? Ooh, that's a good question. I can't think of any offhand. I wish there were, though. That sounds cool. Like a cool crossover. So in Star Trek, there's a very popular ship, and it is known generally as the Miranda-class ship. And the Miranda-class ship has a million different variants. It was a workhorse for the fleet for a long time in like the original Star Trek, like TOS era, essentially. Then you'll have slight variations. So what we're talking about here is if you've seen Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, the best Star Trek movie, you'll remember a ship that looks like this, the Reliant. Now, essentially what we're dealing with here is it's got a saucer, but the saucer goes directly into the secondary, like the engineering hull. So that's this like blocky area. So it doesn't have another section on the bottom like the Enterprise does, typically, depending on which Enterprise you're talking about. But it goes back into a sort of a blockier shape in the back. Warp nacelles are underslung. And then, yes, so there are endless variations of what can be up here. So the Reliant has this defensive tactical roll bar, with torpedoes and extra phasers. You can have Miranda-class without a roll bar at all, or with other things attached to it. And basically, the reason why is when back in the ye old days, when they were filming the shows and the movies, they had a giant studio model of this, and to make it into different ships, they would put other pieces on it, take it off, and things like that. So that is what we're going to look at a little bit today. Now, in the Star Trek Starships collection, they've done numerous versions of these vessels, because again, they've been all over Star Trek since the very beginning, which can load up with just tons of explosives. I mean, the Reliant did pretty well. That was sort of that version. So this is the Soyuz-class. So again, it's not the Miranda-class, but it's based on the Miranda-class, and it just has a bunch of extra doohickeys that they stuck on, again, for filming. And this specifically, yes, it is the USS Bozeman, and yes, Arsenal Roy, of course, you are correct in what we're going to be talking about. Captain Morgan Bateson, who we will discuss in one minute. So this ship, it is old. It's an older style, so it's around, it's what's let's see, 23rd century. So it's like original or Enterprise A era, really. But this ship showed up in Star Trek The Next Generation when the Enterprise D, under command of Captain Picard, found itself in a repeating time loop. It was like a Groundhog Day kind of episode, one of many, and every sci-fi show always ends up having one of these episodes. The ship keeps getting destroyed. They have to figure out how to get out of it, and it turns out that and they originally got there because I think they got there because there was a distress call, whatever. But this ship had been stuck in that time loop for 100 years or something. And yes, it is the famous ship captained by Kelsey Grammer, who I think he had 2 lines in the show. So now this ship always looked really cool because it looked like it had a whole bunch of weapons on it. But they're not. They're actually just sensors that look like weapons. But I mean, you could pretend that they're anything if you're just playing with it. But yes, it's a science vessel. It's got a bunch of sensors on it. And then they talk about here how they took the studio model of the Reliant and just swapped out some parts on it. And then they talk about the season of the show, because again, the ship only appeared for 5 minutes in one episode of the show. So when they make one of these magazines, they got to pack other content in it. So this is just generic stuff about the rest of that season. Now let's look at the toy itself. Oh yeah, those temporal investigators keep very busy. So I assume it's going to be just like the original. I assume it's going to be the same mold, and then they just did some other stuff on it. But interesting. So the first thing I notice is the bridge dome is different. So this one has like this triangular part behind it. Hey, Erdinsk, with a little like notch in the middle. It's kind of hard to see. This one does not. This is a totally different top to it. And then these usually on a Star Trek ship or on a Federation ship, when there's a section that looks like this where it looks a little bit lower than the surrounding area, and it's got some details and it's darker. These are usually sensor areas. Again, it depends and whatever, but I only note that because they are different. And I mean, obviously, because this extended area is obviously a new piece, and it is part of this. So this is a new mold for the back, at least. Interesting. And then yes, it has all of these little sensor emplacements that you could pretend are guns. Even more on the bottom. Look at that. It's just loaded down with all of these. This has got to be the sensoriest of all sensor ships. Yeah, I saw that there was something with the Star Trek or Star Trek Online Armada Timelines. Oh my god, there's so many Star Trek games. Yeah, I played Timelines for a hot minute. Realized that I was going to lose my entire life to that game if I was going to continue with it, so I had to go cold turkey, and I did. I was very proud of myself. But man, that's one of those games. Armada was the RTS game. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that Timelines game is one of those games where, like, you only have a certain amount of missions you can do each day, and then or something like that, and it resets, and then they have events, and if you play the events, you get special characters and ships, and I was like literally setting my alarm for the middle of the night to wake up and do missions. I was like, I can't do this. I can't sustain this life. So as usual, it plugs into the base, and you have your beautiful Bozeman. There are some really neat details on this one. It has the registry printed on the side, which is pretty cool. And that's just like a tampo graphic they've attached, which looks neat. They've got like these little decals for windows back here. Yeah, so when I realized, I forget what event was happening in that game, but it was like I really wanted a certain character, and so I did the event, got the character. Like, okay, I can rest easy. I can give up now. And yeah, so you don't have that on the original one. The colors too are a little bit different. Inside the nacelle, the Reliant is green, while the Bozeman is blue. So that's kind of cool. But like I said, there have been so many different versions of this. The USS Saratoga was another one of these ships that the Ciscos were on when the Borg attacked. And the other one I have to open. And like I said, they've done a bunch of them in this line. I don't know if I have them all. I think I have the Saratoga somewhere. I was going to grab it for today, and I couldn't find it. It's possible I haven't opened it, and it's upstairs still, and I just didn't see it when I was grabbing these two. That happens. But this is the USS Antares, and you can tell, again, same basic structure, but it's got a bunch of weird junk on it. I don't actually remember when this appeared on screen, so we'll find out together. It looks like this one has some phasers, and then some, I don't know what this pod is for exactly, but let's find out. Savage Punch says, is there ever an explanation behind the different design styles between the different cultures? Federation seems very saucer focused. Yeah, I mean, they've gone through, especially with shows like Enterprise, and I mean, that was really the big one that went back and sort of tried to trace the actual designs and how Starfleet got to its sort of traditional shapes. Yeah, so like even the opening of that show literally traces all of their different craft, and Eaglemoss has made so in that opening you see all of these ships that go from essentially space shuttles to low warp ships, and you can see like the design similarities between them. And like I said, of course, Eaglemoss has gone through and made toys of every single one of those ships that just appeared in the opening of the Enterprise. But yes, other races have ships that look very different. And I have a fair amount of those too, but I do really like the Federation stuff, so I have way more Federation ships than anything else. So it looks like the Antares was was basically a background ship, which is to be expected. Yeah, I'm not sure what the big pod is on the top. It says it is a mission-specific pod. Okay, well, sure. There's that. Yeah, I guess this was just a background ship, so they didn't really explain what it all was. The USS Antares appeared briefly on screen in Deep Space Nine, but its behind-the-scenes design provenance is unclear. Ooh, mystery. Yeah, so they talk about how they kit bash ships in the studio. There are so many great... I've talked about this before, but there's so many great stories of people who worked on Star Trek and did this kind of stuff. When they're like, okay, we need a new ship to be in the background of an episode. What do we got? And they would just go and grab, they would grab like a studio model of an actual ship and then just pieces from other model kits and just stick them on, and then maybe, repaint the whole thing or something. And, there you go. And the stories these old model guys have are just bonkers. And like the turnaround time would be just a matter of hours. They'd have to create a new, something not entirely new, but, different enough. Really cool stuff. And then, yeah, if you go back and look at some of the ships, you can find pieces from other model kits, like that have nothing to do with Star Trek even, like just actual model kits that were available at the time that they just bought to have greeblies, to have little bits that they could stick on to their ships. And then we have a feature on Chase Masterson, because why not? We need to fill up a magazine. Ferengi stuff, and more and more. All right. So yeah, so this is one of those ships that, background ship, but it did look cool. see how this one differs. So yeah, it has these sort of these raised parts here, which oh, 4 of them. And I really like that. I really like it breaks up the design, which I think is neat. Yeah, but these are the phasers because they have this on the Reliant. So yeah, typically on this one, this pod is torpedoes, and the phasers are here in these, like, they kind of look like cannons, but I don't think they're technically phaser cannons. That's a different thing. And yeah, this pod, it's very flat, which is weird. Ooh, it's actually it's not quite straight on here. It's a little bit of a bummer, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, phaser banks, of course, are the ideal form of phasers because they can fire in any direction. Phaser banks, phaser strips. Later ships like the Defiant will have pulse phasers. It's a whole nerdy thing. 2 shuttle bays in the back, conveniently labeled. If we can get focus on here, maybe. You can see labeled 1 and 2. So if you're flying your shuttle back in, you don't have to worry about remembering which one is which, because it says it right on the door. I just thought that was goofy. A nice detail, but kind of goofy. Yeah, it doesn't look exactly like any of the other ones. And there is a variant of the Miranda class that does have a bigger, beefier pod on top. Oh, I need the actual attachment. That looks a little bit more organic than this one does, but I don't know. Oh wait, let's compare. So yeah, again, because so much of this back is different, it is a different mold.
We're going to do it in 10 minutes, okay? I'll tell you when it's time to start your class. Okay?
The bridge bubble looks more like the Bozeman, but again, it's not the same. It's yet another distinct mold on there. You can see this detail that's on the back of the Reliant, and it is back there. It's just tucked underneath. Right, yeah, Zen Blade. I mean, typically they can't go any which way, but yeah, if you have enough strips or banks, then you can cover, the full area around the ship. And again, so this one is a lot newer than the original Reliant, so even here you can see that the details, there's a lot more details going on in here than on this one. This one also has the registry on the side, and it is incredibly tiny. Wow, that's neat. Okay, so here in the Eaglemoss line, we've got, ooh, there we go. So yeah, Antares, Reliant, Bozeman. And again, I do really like this ship design. I've liked it ever since I saw Wrath of Khan the first time. So I've got a little one. This is the model kit that came out just a couple years ago. One of these easy to build models. I actually really like these, and this one came together really well. Look closely, it's got, so Star Trek. Oh, man, Star Trek model kits are a very interesting thing, and the people who build them are very interesting. So if you look really closely, actually the Antares is a good one. So you'll see that the ship is not a solid color, right? You see all these markings. Oh, sorry, the camera. Stop wobbling. So you see all these the pattern. Oh, I hit the camera again. So see all those little markings. So those are called, yes, Zenblade knows what I'm talking about. So that's called Aztec markings or Aztec-in. Yeah, it's a weird it's a weird term to Aztec something. It's a verb. And yes, Star Trek modelers are obsessed with this and how to do it. And you can buy, so for every Star Trek model kit that's out there, there's at least one company that makes masks. They're essentially stencils for doing that on your models. And these things take forever. They're super fiddly. You have to put the masks down, get them completely flat, do all the painting, remove the masks, and then do all your other painting. So it's a whole crazy thing that you can get sucked into. And I was just thinking about that because even on this model that obviously came pre-painted, but they actually have a lot of it on here too, which is neat. But it really does help break up what would otherwise be like a big flat gray or bluish gray surface. And also, so if you know somebody who's into Star Trek models, don't ever get them started on the subject of the proper color for a spaceship, because you'll be there for the rest of your life. Is it supposed to be gray? Is it supposed to be blue? What was the original color of the paint that they used in the studio versus what the color correction in the did to the color for on screen? It's a goddamn nightmare. And everybody has their own versions of what's the correct answer. Yeah, that's a thing. Mattel made one of these, kind of a big, chunky version, a lot less detailed. It's not too bad, but it's definitely not as detailed as some of these little ones. This is the Saratoga, even though usually the Saratoga doesn't have the roll bar, but what are you going to do? This is just a different version. Obviously, they used a mold, just a Reliant mold, and gave a different registry on it. It also doesn't really work on its ball joint is fused, so it's kind of perpetually dive in. What are you gonna do? Yeah. Oh my God. The model people fight so much. Let's see. Put that over there. Put that over there. From what was this one? So I've talked about these. So in Japan, there's a love of Star Trek in Japan and Japanese collectible companies. So this is from the Furuta line from a number of years ago. Does it actually say? No. But so this is my Reliance from that line. And again, you start to look at these things and see more of the color variation. So while it's the same ship, this one has a lot more of these blue details, which are not accurate, but they do look cool. I do like I like having if I have multiple ships of the same class, you know, obviously some of them will be different sizes, but it's nice to have some that are a little bit different in their designs, even if that's not exactly accurate to what was on screen. Then if you are a toy car enthusiast, oh, Arsenal Roy, hold on. We're not done. If you're a toy car enthusiast, you might know of the company Johnny Lightning. Johnny Lightning makes cars that are about, you know, Matchbox, Hot Wheels size, usually really detailed, often commemorating something, you know, old things, whatever. So Johnny Lightning had a Star Trek line for a little while, and they made these really great ships. These were so hard to find, especially the later waves. I do not have a complete collection of these at all, and I wish I did. So here's the standard Reliant, and again, like looking at the color differences, you've got this like really vivid blue here, which doesn't exist on any of these other ones. I mean, you have more blue on the Furuta version, but it's not this blue. And they took this mold and they did a bunch of stuff with it. So this is like the Reliance right out of dry dock. Like it's clean, it's fresh, it's new. But of course we have Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. So here we have a battle damaged Reliance. Just paint differences, same ship. Obviously, they weren't gonna like give you half a ship, so they kept both nacelles on, even though one gets blown off. But it's all damaged. I do really like this ship design, as you could probably tell. And then toward the end of the Johnny Lightning line, they kind of went really crazy. So then you get ships like this. That not only did they go really heavy on the Aztecing, but they added actual fire effects, some translucent plastic exploding. So this is the Majestic from one of those Dominion War battles. It didn't do so well in that battle. But yeah, I like that one. It's again something a little bit different to have on the shelf with all these other sort of normal looking ones. I don't think many of the modelers that I see would the Aztecing on this is, I don't think it's quite right, especially back here that ends up looking like zebra stripes on the nacelles. I don't know if that's approved by the community, but it does. Again, it is a striking difference on the shelf next to all these other ones. I do have, and then of course I have, this in the Star Trek HeroClix and Attack Wing. I'm trying to think if I have other Reliance around. I probably do. These were just the ones I could grab easily and quickly for today. But yeah, obviously a popular ship, mainly because of the Wrath of Khan. Yeah. And I know there are more in the Eaglemoss line that, like I said, I think I have. Whether I've opened them yet or not, that I'm not sure of. Somewhere. Erdansk, I have not read any Expanse novels yet, but I got the first couple on Kindle. So, oh shoot. That's okay. Everything's fine. So I will read them soon. So many people have recommended them, talked about how great they are, and I look forward to reading them eventually. Oh, I started reading Fury of Magnus, the latest Horus Heresy novel, or I mean technically it's a novella, but whatever, and it's wacky. It's wacky. I'm gonna give away. It's a very minor spoiler. It's not really even a spoiler, but so it's during the Siege of Terra, and again, we're not all that far into the Siege of Terra yet. There's still like 5 more books that are going to explain it, but Magnus has a little powwow with Ahriman. And Magnus basically says flat out that his plan is to wait and sort of hang back a little bit in the fight, and whoever wins, the Emperor or Horus, that Magnus will wait till that person is in charge and then take out that guy and take over instead. It's like, what are you talking about? Where did this storyline come from? It's goofy. Well, Zardoz, we're in the final countdown, as it were. Okay, let's switch over. Oh, and we are the Magnus stuff. We're dealing with all the shards, which I've been talking to some other Warhammer nerd friends of mine. It's like, this is such a bad idea. Breaking breaking magnets into shards and chasing the shards and all that kind of stuff. So you've seen a lot of my spaceships on this stream and others, and mostly my toy ships range from little guys to, maybe a foot and a half. I do have some larger ones that are around. Not easy to show on stream, at least not with this top-down camera view. But one that I just had to get in a larger scale. One of the cooler, I think, and again, people have different opinions, and that's totally fine. But one of the coolest ships I think that Star Wars has introduced in a while. Let's see how much of this one we can see on in this camera. So the Republic Gunship from the prequels, used by the clone army. So we can see a little bit of it. So this is the Hasbro full size 3 3/4 inch scale version. Yeah, I can't really get this into frame at all. This toy is very large, very heavy. This ship debuted in Attack of the Clones. Just like most clone things. I know I can't really do much. Next time I do a straight on camera stream, I'll have to show it then. And then I do have I think maybe I have a couple of the full size Lego ones. The Outrider's okay. The Outrider is just a Millennium Falcon in a different in a slightly different configuration. So yeah, I have a couple of I think I have the original Lego version, which was, I think, about this big, and then they did another one that was bigger and had more detail later on. I don't think I have that one. But this is probably the best mid-range. So this is from the Action Fleet, which was, oh my god. And they brought this back, but the Action Fleet line was just so amazing. And again, because these toys, not only did they look great, but they had actual features. So these have the turrets that move around. Just have an open, yeah, you can open that up. There are little seats inside. No figures to go in them, but you don't need it for this kind of scale. Everything moves. The troop compartment hatches actually swing out. They're kind of stuck in there, but, oh, there we go. So these swing open and shut. Just great stuff. Oh, that's a little bent back there. What are you gonna do? So yeah, there have been a lot of toys of this over the years because it's such a great design. Again, typical like loitering gunship kind of thing. So it does have some heavy weapons, but it can fly in, disgorge troops, and then stay in the area and help support them. All that kind of stuff. I'm not a super military guy, but you all know, you've all seen these things. So when they first introduced the ship in the movie, it had this basic squirrel. Welcome, thank you so much for the 5 months of subscribing. Elon Musk probably is 5. Yeah, I always wonder, especially with super weirdos like Elon Musk, like what kind of weird crap does he have in his house? I don't know. So in this later Hot Wheels line, they gave us one of these gunships. Again, a standard version. And I keep saying that because I'm going to show you some non-standard versions in just a second. Now again, this line is at least partly die-cast metal, so pretty heavy. The main parts are metal, just with plastic for anything that kind of sticks out. So the guns, the turrets, and the guns up in front. Now, as you can probably tell, the proportions on this are way off. It's kind of like chibi style. It's chunky, but it's cute. I guess. Again, these are great if you could find them at retail because they were inexpensive. This is really small for this line. Most of the ships were bigger. I'm just thinking of the other ones we have. So it attaches. These had the bases where you could cram a finger in there and sort of fly it around. Whee! Pew, 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 pew. So yeah, not too bad. But again, well, what else can you do with one of these ships? It's a spaceship. It does cool stuff. So again, like I said, when we saw it in the movie, it just looked like this. And then, yeah, obviously they're not gonna give us actual see-through whatchamacallit, canopies on a toy this size here. It's chunky and it's cute. Sounds like what my ex told her friends about me. Squirrel, there's nothing wrong with being chunky and cute. All right, so let's switch gears. Going back, the titanium line of ships, one of my all-time favorite toy lines. So they gave us the gunship. So this first one was a little bit. The model is good. It doesn't have the ball turrets that come out of the sides, but again, it's almost all metal. Obviously, not these little droopy guns; those are plastic. But there was not a real good way they could have incorporated those and kept it looking cool. And this is fully in deployment mode, so the doors are open. There's even the pass-through section, which again you can see on here, but not on this little one. This little one's all closed up. But anyway, so this was the first version. Just fine. Again, the colors are a bit off model. It's really gray instead of white. So then they updated it with a more accurate version, white, but then just too many painted details. We don't need all this junk. And they closed up the doors and gave it some new parts. You can see that the guns are a new, bigger piece. They added more detail to the front. Yeah, I mean, and it is a different mold, but again, you can see how they updated it. But then they thought, let's do some other stuff with it. So we get one that's in green. And I'm sure, these all had like what division they went to and who commanded the division. I don't know that much detail. So we have one in green. We have one in, what is this, like gray and yellow a little bit, which is cool. But then, of course, the other most iconic version of these is this one from the cartoon. And dang, that's cool. Now, technically, this is based off of some animal in Star Wars. I can't remember which one it is. But, you've got that classic paint job, classic like real world paint job where they make, a fighter plane or something look like an attacking beast. But that's neat. Ooh, bendy guns. What are you gonna do? So again, this is the old titanium version, but then in the new Hot Wheels, they did one of those as well. So you can see the artwork for it. Oh my goodness, it's stuck in there. Come on. Don't embarrass me like that. All right. So compared here, again, Same mold, but very different look with that paint job. The cool details of the face there. And then compared to the previous titanium version. There we go, focus. But yeah, these are neat. I like that they did the white out on the canopies. That's cool. Again, just something, a little bit of a different detail. So yeah, now I can add a couple more gunships to my collection. On these, I'm trying to think if I have any more of these around. Well, again, I have the big one. Oh, I have pocket models. Did they make this in pocket models? I think they did. Yeah, so that would be somewhere. Somewhere else. But yeah, you can see these in, like I said, in Attack of the Clones, and then in the Clone Wars cartoon. Both versions. So it was in the original Clone Wars cartoon, the hand-drawn animation style, the micro episodes, and then the full CG cartoon. Man, I love that original Clone Wars cartoon. I think that was just Clone Wars, right? And then the later was The Clone Wars. I think that was the difference in the title, I think. Oh, squirrel. That is my life. I can't tell you, and I shouldn't say this too loud, but how many times I've bought a toy not realizing I already had it. I mean, when it's a spaceship, it doesn't matter because like you need a fleet of ships, so that's fine. But that may have happened to me once or twice. You know, it's hard to keep track. Okay, move all these guys out of here. All right, let's do. What should we look at next? Should we be Batman? Isn't that somebody's saying? Be who you are unless you can be Batman, and then be Batman. Yeah, there have been certain toy lines, again, especially spaceships, when it's like, I don't want one. I want a whole shelf of them. That's especially true, again, when they did Star Trek, actual Star Trek HeroClix ships. So it was called the Star Trek Tactics line, and yeah, I have a lot of those. Literally entire shelves of them to have, and those are specific ships in the game. So like technically, you can't even play them that way. Although whatever, nobody would really stop you because they're not overpowered or anything for the game. But like the Defiant is the Defiant. It's not in Attack Wing. A better starship game. When you play the Defiant, you can either play it as the specific Defiant, or you can play it as a Defiant class, and then you can have a whole bunch of them and do whatever you want. So yeah, let's talk Batman for a minute. Obviously, there are a billion Batman collectibles out there of every single thing in Batman's life and in Batman's world. Batman himself, all of his supporting cast, all of Batman's vehicles, which we've looked at on this stream before. One thing that doesn't get made into toy form a lot, but every so often, is his house, is where he lives, where he does his homework. So what are we talking about specifically? Of course, we're talking about the Batcave itself. obviously not the easiest thing to make into a toy. It has been done. There have been various Batcave play sets in toy lines over the years. Arthur Roy, that's not a bad. That's actually a good thought. I mean, the new rules make so much old stuff. Well, it makes it playable, but now that everything's better, it'll be interesting to see what actually comes out smelling like a rose and what falls through the cracks, to mix up some metaphors. Probably the latest. We'll see if it's the greatest. Batcave is this one. Big box. I don't think the toy is going to be quite as big. I've opened these before on stream, talked about them a lot. The Nano Metal Figs from Jada Toys. And again, this line doesn't really exist anymore. They still do some stuff, but it's not exactly the same. But they came out with a couple of these big box things. Most notably this Batcave. They did another box this size that's just it's basically a display for these little figures. So it's a wall with little openings where you could put figures and it lights up, and it looks cool. I have one somewhere. I haven't opened it yet. Picked up this bad boy on a pretty sweet clearance. Yeah, that's half off. That's the way we do it. As you know, I'm not a huge Batman fan, but I'll pick up Batman stuff, for that much of a deal. It comes with 2 exclusive figures, exclusive just because they're painted slightly different than the versions that you could get in the actual sets. Ruiner, like I said, I need to have a warning, a disclaimer on my streams that you may see things that you will want to buy. The back is great. Packaging on the stuff was really good. It showed you all the details. It actually gives you specific measurements, so you can tell, where you'd want to put your stuff at home. And then shows you some of the details that it can do. So let's get this thing open. Ooh, original Wampa. That's cool. Oh my goodness. Look at all these parts. Okay, I was not expecting this. Holy crap. Oh, Nightbot. I guess this turned into a build stream. Wow. I am actually very surprised. I thought this was going to be... I mean, obviously, the depth of the box is such that there was going to be some assembly, but I thought it was just going to be like sticking that bottom part on, but this is a lot. Okay, alright, we can do this. Oh crap, I see stickers. My nemesis. Yes, some assembly required. It probably says it on the box, I just didn't look that closely. Ooh, and technically this is a nano scene, because you have to brand everything. I was up very late last night taking pictures for some upcoming reviews. The folks over, specifically at WizKids, great people. They like me. So yeah, I took, like, I think I took 1,000 photos last night. Like I said, for multiple reviews, not all just one thing. But yeah, some cool stuff coming up. Some stuff that's already out. Some stuff that's coming out very soon. Some stuff that's not coming out for a while. So, different things I could or could not talk about. But, yeah. All good. Possibly some HeroClix. Possibly some other things. All right, so we've got the back panel. Playsets, toy playsets, are an absolutely fascinating subject. Something that I could talk about a lot. Those of you who are of a certain age, maybe close to my age, may remember the 80s, especially as being a heyday of playsets. Late 70s into the 80s. And they've never really had as much popularity as they did then. But changes to costs of plastic, how much space toy companies get on retailer shelves, online selling, all of these things have contributed to the lack of playsets. And it's not to say that there aren't playsets around anymore. Some companies still do them. There were, I mean, just thinking back to all the great playsets of yesteryear, and you've got things like Castle Grayskull and all of the, well, I mean, G.I. Joe had vehicles that turned into playsets, but I'd say those counted. All right, so this bottom piece plugs in. It's got a big gap. I don't know that it'll attach any. I'm trying to squeeze. I think that's as close as it's going to get. That's fine. As long as it's sturdy. Does this move? Oh, that's cool. So there's a door here. Opens up. Finding cool bat features already. Okay, now I need... What are all these things? Here we go. Yeah, and again, right, when you have a vehicle toy that takes up half the room, that's a playset for sure. All right, we've got this one is going to go over here eventually, but I need little computer bits to go on there. Oh my god, there are so many parts. It's crazy. I had no idea. More parts. I am following the directions. I am a directions guy. Oh, they did number the part. Oh, cool. Smart. They imprinted the number of the pieces on the back of the parts. Beautiful. So yeah, many fewer playsets come out these days, but you do see them on occasion. How does this work? Oh, here it goes. Oh, that's cool. So this piece goes in the back and there we go. It makes the screens that are embedded in the wall. That's cool. Yeah, exactly, Squirrel. Yeah, the ones that were that basically folded everything up, and then you could take your toys with you. Is that part 6? No, that's part 8. Yeah, I mean, like I've talked about before, this company is mostly known for their metal toys that don't really do much of anything. And yeah, to have all of this stuff going on is pretty rad. All right, I need a big... Where's the big screen TV? Obviously, all these screens are going to have stickers to put on them eventually. Boo. Okay. So we've got screens up here. Excellent. Then, okay, this goes off to the side while I continue the rest of this. I need catwalks and the lower platform. This one? No, not that one. This one. Okay, here we go. Okay, one of those, and then so many ladders. Ladders and railings. Safety first in the Batcave, folks. Safety first. Oh, everything is also really dusty. Okay, this should plug in like so. That almost fits. Oh, there we go. Man, who's getting excited for Snyder Cut? I love all the reveals. Did anyone read that Vanity Fair article? By the way, fascinating. Honestly, fascinating. The behind the scenes stuff that went on with Justice League and is continuing to go on, and just the stories and the personalities. Look, we all know it's going to be a train wreck. A 4-hour just brutal stab yourself in the eyes train wreck. Is it going to be entertaining? It might. I'm going to watch it. I'm a big nerd. I'll watch, just about anything. Obviously, I love all this DC crap. Okay, where does this thing go? Oh, there. And like I said, I already have HBO Max, so it's not like I have to buy it. Is this right? Where's the box? Hold on. I want to make sure. Yes, that's right. Look, I've seen Dark Crystal. I'm not watching it again. Okay, I think that works right there. Okay, next walkway. But yeah, for those who haven't been following along, a lot of crazy stuff happened with the original production of the Justice League movie. By the time they were making that movie, the people in charge at Warner Brothers weren't super happy with the way these movies were going and with what Zack Snyder was doing. Zack Snyder famously has some really, let's call them, interesting ideas about superhero movies and how they should look and how superheroes should act. That kind of stuff. So as this article talked about, now, to be clear, to be frank, and I don't know that we need a content warning, but I'm talking about some serious stuff here. The Justice League movie came out the way it did in theaters at the time, with Joss Whedon coming in to finish it, because during the production of that movie, Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide. one of his children. Obviously, a terrible thing. And, you know, no one blamed him for stepping back and not finishing the movie at the time. It was, at the time, it was only announced that he had, you know, personal things going on, and yeah, and then that Joss Whedon was coming in to help finish the project. Now, as it turns out, that's not the whole story. Because what had been rumored, and what we found out explicitly in that Vanity Fair article, is that even before all that happened, the studio was already not happy with what Snyder was doing on that movie. So much so that they literally had people come and babysit the set to watch for any shenanigans. Yeah, that that Snyder was trying to incorporate in the movie. And again, like as we found out in this article, he had a storyline that Bruce Wayne was going to be sleeping with Lois Lane, and just like why? What? And that, of course, like that's just silly and dumb, but whatever. But yes. So anyway, so in the article, and look, we've talked about this before. Like Zack Snyder, you know, however you want to feel about him, he's definitely a man with a vision when he makes his projects. He seems, you know, for all of the darkness in his things, he seems like a decent enough dude, I guess. And according to this article, at least, he welcomed having overlords watch over him on set. I cannot imagine that's true, but sure, why not? Oh, and these overlords, by the way, were none other than Jeff Johns, who you may know from DC Comics and Warner Brothers, and then some other guy, I can't remember the other one's name. But yeah, apparently they were literally on set and in the office sort of listening to what Snyder was planning and talking about and opining about whether it's appropriate or not. So all that was going on. Snyder's making the movie. Warner Brothers is still not happy with what he's doing. So again, even before the family issues, they already brought in Joss Whedon to do some little rewrites here and there, to film a couple of sequences here and there. This was before Snyder even left. Which again, like if you tracked the timeline before, a lot of this was, if not obvious, you could kind of figure it out, because I mean, you know, these movies aren't made in a day, and people aren't signed on to do things in a day. So yeah, so Whedon was involved before Snyder even left. Super awkward. And again, in the article, Snyder is very gracious. He said, "Oh no, it was totally fine that they brought in somebody else to shoot scenes for my movie." Yeah. So Whedon was already on board before Snyder had to leave. And again, I'm not saying that it was an entire conspiracy and that they were like looking for a way to get rid of Snyder. I don't think it went that far. But yeah, it's a whole weird thing. Then of course, so that's one side of of all the stories. Oh, hold on, I gotta, this piece is not wanting to go in. Come on. So Whedon comes in, finishes his version of the movie, which we all assumed we would never really know what the differences would have been, right? There are... Oh man, why does this piece not want to attach? I don't like that. But yeah, now they're saying that it's something like 75% of the movie ended up different than what Snyder had, you know, envisioned, and blah blah blah, and who knows. I mean, we'll never know for sure, of course. Oh, this bank of keyboards just not want to. I can get it in one side but not the other. Shoot. Oh, I don't like that at all. Come on now. Anyway, of course, for other reasons, Whedon became less beloved in Hollywood. And so now they can basically pretend like that movie never even came out. And there's nobody really to say anything about that. Oh, that piece does not want to attach. Bummer. Bummer. I think it'll stay, but it's loose. Yes, the playset is being very fussy, and I do not like it. Yeah, it's such a weird confluence of things that happened, and again, now the fact that we're getting this reworked version of the movie, and it's wild. I'm sure there'll be more stories about this going forward, and it'll become a piece of Hollywood trivia. Which one is which? I assume. There we go. Okay, so this piece goes there. Part 13 is this one. All right, Zardoz. Well, I mean, if you really want to sum it up in few words, then I suppose that works. Two problematic directors tanked a movie. Erdansk, that is an excellent point there. Oh, speaking of which, I guess they just announced this morning that there's going to be a Blue Beetle movie. Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. I don't know. I just saw the headline and like a. Oh, that's not the right piece for that one. Shoot. So I just saw the headline. I don't know anything about it beyond that. So I'm looking forward to finding out more information. I mean, of course, everything is getting a movie. We'll see, what actually ends up being made, but on the face of it, that sounds rad. I would hope that they would include at least a reference to Ted Kord, or Ted Kord being in it, but I certainly do not need. I don't need Ted Kord in a movie about Jaime Reyes. Ugh, Brett Ratner. Oh my god, that guy is goddamn worst. The Rat. Okay, so this piece, in theory, goes here-ish. Okay, that fits. I feel like everything is just not tight enough. But I also Plastic is a little bit flimsy in cases, and I don't want to really jam it too hard. Okay. Yeah, Dan Garrett, Blue Beetle. That would certainly be something. All right, I think this we're in the home stretch, people. Almost there. Which way does this one go? It should go this way. Just doesn't have nothing to lock it in. Is it like a quick change? You're supposed to turn it around? Yeah, it's not bad as far as, it's so vertical. Ooh, if you had a couple of them, that could be something. All right, let's get this thing done. And this, in theory, goes up here. Do I have this on right? It looks like it's right. Yeah, that has to go. There we go. Okay. All right, very close. Oh no, those keyboards fell down again. All right, is the last thing this base? Shazam was interesting. The movie. Oh, did it not come with batteries? Jerks. I didn't love the Shazam movie. It's okay. That movie felt like it was directed by a couple different teams, I thought. I'm one of those people who will be annoying and say that movie had very weird tone. I don't know about issues, but tone changes back and forth. I'm going to be one of those guys, but it was interesting. All right, so we've got stickers. Blech. I guess they just go on the screens. That's not terrible. Probably should have. Oh, well, look at that. If I had gone to this page, I would have seen where it says apply stickers before assembly. They should put that warning on every page in case you don't see that page first. This is fine. It's all fine. But yeah, now I gotta try to get my fingers back in here. I only saw Shazam the one time, so I should probably go back and watch it again at some point. My feelings might change. Oh, that sticker did not go on straight. Oh no. God. Damn you stickers. Yeah, exactly, Squirrel. I mean, come on. We don't always look at the first page of the directions. Sometimes we go right to the second page. Say, all right, dummy, did you read the first page? Don't put this together if you haven't put the stickers on yet. Ooh, this sticker has, it's very tiny, but you'll have to trust me, but there's a little image of Two-Face on there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're almost there. Now, apparently, this either did not come with batteries, or the batteries have already died. You'll just have to. We'll all have to trust that it lights up. I am not going to go and get batteries right now. Mainly because I don't know that we have batteries right now. My kids burn through batteries like crazy. We're constantly running out of batteries. Okay, let me get... And of course, we need our dynamic duo. Come on, Robin. And Batman. Oh, whew. That's a lot. Okay, we got our Batman and Robin. These are the typical nano metal figs. They are soft in sculpt. Paint detail's not too bad. They're attached to these bases. Everything just flows together. They look a little melty, but they're $1 a piece. $1 a piece. I mean, when these were actually on sale. And yeah, this thing is pretty cool. You can do a lot of stuff with this. It actually has, there is a bat figure, like a Batman figure, just in plastic built into that right there. So it just looks like a costume in there. Obviously, it's the door that you would come from Wayne Manor. Oh my goodness, why is that so unsteady? I mean, I know this table isn't exactly flat, but that's wild. A little wobbly. Maybe I will have to try to adjust. That could be why. I love that they kept in mind the shape of these bases. So they're actually indentations. So they'll kind of, it's not a huge indentation, but it kind of shows you where figures go. So there's one right there for just coming out of Wayne Manor. There's one inside the tube, which is nice. One on top, one over here on the landing, one in the bottom tube. Nothing up here or here, but there is one down here leading into the underwater exit, obviously here. So yeah, there's a lot of obviously you can just like jam a bunch of figures in here, have them all fighting, or all your Batman family getting together for a mission briefing. And then the garage door that opens and shuts. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh yeah, Air Dance Guy. I've heard of those. I don't think I've ever had a test that had that. Where yeah, read all the instructions first, then you get to the bottom and it says, you know, wait 5 minutes and then go turn it in without writing anything on it. And other people are writing furiously. Yeah. Good times. Now, like I said, there have been... Oh, this, yeah, for stickers. Yeah, no, thankfully it doesn't have that many stickers, but it's just for putting figures there. There have been all sorts of really cheapy Batcave playsets over the years. There were a couple that were tie-ins for some of the movies. I don't have any of those, but what I do have, and Arsenal Roy, I don't know if you were waiting for this, but maybe the coolest Batcave miniature and collectible of all time is from HeroClix. And yes, you can play the Batcave in HeroClix. Look at how cool this thing is. It's a HeroClix piece. It's on a base. It doesn't move. You put it in your starting area, and then depending on how you play it, it can give buffs to your other figures. It can shoot at other figures, but it's got multiple levels. A built-in Alfred with medical supplies, usually screens, all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah, it has Batcave computer dial. It has an offense dial and a defense dial. So it just does a whole bunch of stuff. This was a prize at the end of the No Man's Land series. And you notice this one also has indentations for the utility belt piece, which you can put little... Man, this thing was crazy, but there were little slots for putting utility belt items on there, and you can put different costumes inside, and this fits right there. And there's a spot here where you can put Batman or anybody else right on there. So yeah, very cool piece. Just, whoa. It doesn't like it when it's turned sideways, but yeah, I love this thing. They did such a great job with this. Ooh. There's something loose inside. Weird. I don't know what that would be. So yeah, mini Batcave, so enormous Batcave. All right, well, we did spaceships. We did the Batcave. What more could you possibly ask for? And yes, you can kill the Batcave. It has invulnerability and penetrating psychic blast. It has shape change, which means you target it and you have to roll a die, and then, or well, it rolls a die, and then you might not be able to target it because, like, wait, is that the Batcave or is that just a regular cave? I'm not sure. I can't shoot at it. Although in the new rules, who knows? Maybe shape chains won't even work that way anymore. How many points is this thing? Oh, and Alfred has his own dial too in the back. Missed that. How many points is this? Doesn't say on the base, which is annoying. Usually it says. I don't know. I have to look it up. But yeah. It could, right, it could just be a normal cave. No bats here in this cave. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look up the card and see what the flavor text is for that power. It's probably something silly. Good. Cool. Right, it's just a cave with bats. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so today is also Dunes Day. So I will be on with Jessica this afternoon. 5 p.m. Pacific. Trying to remember all my times. Yes, 5 p.m. Pacific. Jessica Nerdy, tune in. We're getting close to being done with Dune, so maybe we'll actually do some reading today. Reminder that this coming Sunday will be our first book club meeting talking about Creatures of Light and Darkness. It will be on Jessica's Discord. We don't know the exact time yet. It looking like it'll probably be like 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. I know that's not going to be great for everybody, but you know, it is what it is. Oh, Zenblade, thank you. 85 and 100 points. Yeah, I know it has like two different versions of how you can play it. One is more support, one is more shooty and stuff, if I'm remembering correctly. This came out when I was actually still running events at my local venue. So I got one of these just as the judge prize, gift, whatever you want to call it. Good times. Good times. So yeah, all that stuff is happening and more. Otherwise, I'm just going to say goodbye and have a great rest of your Tuesday, everyone. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay sane as much as possible, or as much as you already were. And hopefully I will see you all on the Dune stream or tomorrow back here for Warhammer. All right.